Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. So, alhamdulillah, we all made it through Ramadan. Hopefully, everybody was able to complete their fast, do more good deeds, and be more generous during the month of Ramadan. And not the most important thing, but an extremely important issue is hopefully we all learned some things about ourselves during the month of Ramadan. What we need to stop doing, what we need to be better at, what we need to avoid, and most importantly, what we need to do in order to move forward. It was a time in my life where I was Muslim, but I didn't really know how to be Muslim. I loved the deen. I loved being Muslim. I loved everything about Islam. But I really didn't have the knowledge to really carry myself. So one of the best decisions that I made was, alhamdulillah, because I started to run, and what it was, I felt that way about myself because I started running into Muslims that I viewed a certain way because they went to the masjid. And that's where my confusion started to come in. So I humbled myself and said, I'm going to start from the very beginning, right? I'm going to learn my deen all over again, starting from the very beginning. And we feel like the Shahada is the very beginning of our deen, right? Because that's kind of what we're taught. Yes, that is your entry point into officially accepting Islam as your religion and the way of life that comes with it, right? It is that part. But when you look at the way the Muslims did it in the past, the first steps was actually learning what Islam was about. That was a step that I missed. Having knowledge of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, knowledge of what the Quran was really about, and what the life really entails, the way of life, the deen, right? And what the religion comes with, so that you can properly live that way of life. Those was the steps that I missed. Because, alhamdulillah, being a kid, 13, 14-year-old kid accepting Islam, like, I was still a kid. So to me, it was a transition into a better version of Christianity. Because I didn't believe the whole Jesus was God thing. But I'm going to be honest. I didn't believe that Jesus was God, but I did believe that Jesus was Jesus. See? And then I did believe that there was a God. And just people saying, it was like, of course, it was Nation of Islam people and books that I was reading. But this was after I accepted it. But that basically Jesus is a prophet and Allah is Allah. So you can still love Jesus, but it was pushing that point on getting me to still accept Jesus and still love Jesus. Like, you don't have to throw Jesus away when you come to Islam. There was really nothing teaching me about Prophet Muhammad other than he was a prophet, which led to me. Now just look at how crazy this is. I became Muslim 13, 14 years old. I didn't accept Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam officially as my prophet until I was like maybe 25. You see what I'm saying? Because this was this version that was brought to me. See, some of these versions of Islam that we can get tied into, and there's a point to this. And some of us who accept Islam for what it is, I'm gonna show you how they really falling into the same thing, but they don't know it. These versions of Islam that was surrounding me, your Nation of Islam, your gang version of Islam, and your Moorish American version of Islam, mixed in with like this Ahmadiyyan version of Islam. These versions have you feeling like you can be a Muslim without Prophet Muhammad being your prophet. Yeah, he's just like we acknowledge Moses as a prophet. We acknowledge Jesus as a prophet. But we don't follow them. They kind of do the same. Yeah, Prophet Muhammad is a prophet, but we don't follow him. We follow this person. We follow Elijah and Fard Muhammad. We follow Noble Drew Ali. So I was on that. Yeah, I would say that Prophet Muhammad was a prophet, but I didn't officially accept him as my prophet because I really didn't know nothing about him. And so my point is, like, before people take their shahada, this is some information that they need to know. Or if they want to hurry up and go ahead and take their shahada, start getting knowledge of these things. Now, to my defense, the knowledge of these things wasn't available. It was in Arabic. You either had to go overseas. You know, I'm talking a lot of years ago. Okay? So, what happens is, like even now, like when I was talking the other day about me seeing people take the shahada, and when they was testifying that Muhammad, you know, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was the last and final messenger, they thought that was referring to Elijah Muhammad. You see what I'm saying? Because they really don't have no knowledge of Prophet Muhammad. Seeing times where, by me being in a transition part, like I actually seen people who was Muslim and born Muslims and thought Islam was a black religion. Like you couldn't be Muslim unless you was black. You see what I'm saying? And then you have people like Malachi Z. York and them making up drawings and talking about how Prophet Muhammad was black, and you know, when they was the Ansari community. So what's happening now, and why you seeing a lot of Muslims that be on a certain thing, yes, they do accept Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. And they may even say stuff like that, Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when they say his name, say Prophet Muhammad. But they don't really know nothing about him. They don't really know his sunnah. They don't really know how to follow it. They don't read hadiths. They don't think hadiths should be read. They don't think hadiths is real. And they just go by what anybody tell them if they ever get told anything. You see what I'm saying? If they ever get told anything. So, and I'm able to recognize it because I was Muslim for a lot of years as a kid though. And I didn't necessarily like I used to say out of my mouth, wallahi. And may Allah forgive me for it. I've been asking for forgiveness for a lot of years. That Prophet Muhammad, I used to be like, man, Muhammad, the one who messed the deen up. He brought the 5. He the one who got people thinking they should pray 5 times a day. He made that stuff up. I'm talking like this, and I ain't never even synced the hadith. But why am I talking like this? Because of my environment, see. But now you have Muslims who go to a masjid. May have been going to the masjid for 20 years. And they talk like that. The Quran only say 3 times a day. You only pray 3 times a day. There's no Jumu'ah in the Quran. Jumu'ah not even real, but they show up the Jumu'ah service. To be seen, to try to sell stuff, to try to rub elbows, to beg from the masjid because they not handling their business, they wasting their money. They take their rent money, their car payment money, and trick it off, and then come rub elbows in the masjid, hoping they can get an envelope from them. You don't even believe Jumu'ah is real. Why are you here? Because they don't have proper knowledge and understanding of Prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or their Quran. But they've been around so long. These are the educators. And I'm not talking about just here. Like even when I sit down with some of the Muslims, man, that's in major places where they feel like it's a land of Tawheed. Your Philly, your Jerseys. And we get to talking about the Sunnah. They don't really know it. They don't really know it. Like, we at a point in time when you get to talking about actions of prayer, ibadah, fasting, zakat al-fitr, right? We at a time now where you starting to see maybe 7 out of 10, because I haven't did a survey of everybody on the planet or in America, but I could say, and this is a lot of conversations, at least 7 out of 10 conversations, individuals will say, well, I do this because, like even we'll just say something as simple as the moon sighting, right? When you see people having a back and forth, and then you say, okay, what does the Quran say and what does the Hadith say, and how did the companions understand it? Oh, well, my masjid said we go by this. My madhab Imam Malik said this is what we go by. Okay, but what about the Quran and the Hadiths? You understand? nobody knows them. Or, well, my mom, my dad, although like these not little kids, these not like teenage people, but they was born into a Muslim family, so they may, we talking about, they may be like 35, 36, and their parents are, oh well, my mom and dad said this. Okay, but again, what about the Quran and the Hadiths? Even where some people say the Quran don't even talk about the moon sighting. That stuff is Hadiths. But the Quran do talk about the moon sightings. But again, when it starts to come, even when it comes down to wudu, okay, what's the Hadiths? What does the Quran say about wudu? And then going to the Hadiths, and then how did the people that Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam taught directly, how did they make wudu and how did they say it should be made? And the difference is that the different ways that they pointed out. Then again, this is what they taught me at my masjid. This is what the Hanafi madhab says. There's no verses about wudu in the Quran. Real conversations. Because people, so in reality, what I'm pointing out is, although people accept Prophet Muhammad as a prophet, like I accepted him as a prophet, but not necessarily my prophet. Yeah, he's a prophet in Islam. I can't deny that, but as somebody who I follow, no, he messed the deen up. He added 5 prayers. He added this. They're really doing the exact same thing, but they just saying it different. Well, this madhab said, well, this masjid said, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying this as a knock to the madhabs, because some people so madhab heavy that they don't understand if it's something real and authentic in the madhab. They took it from Quran and Hadiths. What's the Quran and Hadiths that they use to form the opinion that they had? At least be able to say that. But they can't. But they'll say this madhab, or this is what I was taught. Okay, what madhab did that come from? Oh, well, it's okay to do this and it's okay to do that because this one had this opinion. Are you sure? Because that is not the case on every last thing, although people say it. Because what you start to realize is when certain scholars of the past, scholars of the modern times, what they will say is, no, that's not something that everybody can do and you can pick and choose. That imam, although he was a great imam, he made a mistake. You think Imam Shafi'i, Imam Malik, you think they didn't come along and say, no, we don't do that what Imam Hanifa did because he has a different madhab and his way is also permissible. They say, no, he made a mistake and we not following that mistake. When it came to Imam Malik, no, that was a mistake. That's something in this particular thing, you can't do it any other way. But we honor his mistake because the hadiths may not have reached him. So he just went off what he felt like was best. Therefore, it's a mistake and we don't follow him in that. But now, due to people who not having knowledge, but they are the leaders of the community, sit down and say, okay, well, this one had this opinion, that one had that opinion, this one this, so you can differ in that and you could choose which one you want. But that's not in every last issue. And then you have some individuals who say these type of discussions should only be had between students and people of knowledge. You don't talk about this type of stuff to your regular 9 to 5 Muslim, your everyday Muslim. You need to. It need to be discussed. Because how are we ever going to get on one accord? Because right now, everybody is coming up with all of these different things about the moon sighting, about Zakat al-Fitr. Oh, you need to look at the opinion of everybody who said that. But you need to look at this and all this stuff that people is fighting about. But it's really due to because they don't really know what the Quran and the Tafsir say about it, and what the Hadiths that's authentic say about it, and what the people who the Rasul taught, how they viewed it. It's to the point where they're twisting it up because they don't really have no real knowledge of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, but they do accept him as a prophet. You have more Muslims in today's time that think you can't even get Islam together without Quran and Hadiths. You can't practice the Quran and Hadith. I mean, you can't practice Islam correctly learning Quran and Hadiths. You need the opinions of this one and this one and this one and this one. So what are they doing? They really accepting people over Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. When these are things that you don't see scholars and people of knowledge doing. Now, don't get me wrong. Yes, there are some things that you can differ in because there wasn't anything clear in the Quran or the Hadiths. So some of the companions may have seen it this way and seen it that way. It may have been some things that wasn't necessarily clear. So some companions did it this way, some companions did it that way. Or early on in the Deen of Islam, the Rasul may have did it a certain way. But then different legislations came down, so then he may have started to do it different. Because different legislations came down. For instance, where we talking about legislation, there was a time in Islam when people were able to drink alcohol. People were able to deal with intoxicants. Women were able to run around uncovered. Then verses came down on covering, and this is unfortunate. Verses came down on covering. So the women started to cover like the women of Jahiliyyah, or like the people that they seen. So then another ayat came down telling them to cover properly and how to do it and a hadith to go with it. But when you have sisters who don't know both of the ayats on covering, then they don't know the hadiths on covering as well. They may have their hair out. They may have earrings out. You see what I'm saying? So when different legislations came down, things was adjusted. So you have to be able to look at the whole deen to know what needs to be done. We don't do that. And then what you're starting to have is individuals asking 10 people the same question. But this person ain't been to school. This person ain't sat in no classroom. This person ain't set up under no students. This person is from Ahlul Bid'ah. This person has some bid'ah, and then they'll take all those answers and then try to throw them up against each other when they ask certain people, and whichever one fit in with their desires, that's the answer they'll accept. But they don't realize the confusion that is causing them. You see what I'm saying? You know, and then some of these same individuals sit down and say, well, and I'm being careful with my words because I don't want one person to take it personal. And I'm talking about over my lifetime dealing with these same things, but these same individuals will say wallahi that when an issue come up, all they do is go look at Sahih Bukhari. And you know, back in my day, I used to be like, when individuals used to say that type of stuff, and then they would come asking everybody a question, and then when the question get around to me, I would say to them, what did Sahih Bukhari say? You claim you go look at Bukhari on how to do all these things. What you asking all these people who don't even do it for? Then you want to ask me, hoping that you could catch me being wrong. What did Sahih Bukhari say? They don't know. You don't even have Sahih Bukhari. Because you don't have proper knowledge of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam like you think you do and like you should have had. Not saying you have to know the whole complete sunnah, but your shahada is two parts. Allah Azza wa Jal on the first part, Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam on the second part. What comes from Allah? Quran. You need to have knowledge of that. You testifying that there's no deity worthy of worship except for Allah Azza wa Jal, but your Quranic knowledge is deficient. You claim that there's no other, that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam is you testifying that he's the last messenger, the last prophet of Allah Azza wa Jal, right? But you don't have any knowledge of the deen from hadiths and ain't trying to learn it. But you done took your shahada, entering into Islam, but low key rejecting these two things, but you don't realize it because of your environment. And that's especially us. That's something that we need to change, man. That's something that we need to change because we're too caught up in ideology on the aspect of a whole bunch of different people ideas. Well, my imam seen it this way. Well, my imam seen it this way. Well, my scholar seen it this way. And my scholar seen it this way. So now we got to clash. What we got to clash for? I want your followers. Because I don't like how y'all treat them. Although we got the exact same issues on our side. But then when a person say, well, what does the Quran and the Hadith say? And the people who learned them directly, how did they understand it? See, you can't just look at that. You need the opinion of my madhab to understand it. And that's not accurate. The opinion of your madhab wasn't around when it was being taught. No matter what madhab you chose. The opinion of your madhab wasn't around when Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam walked this earth teaching and living Islam perfectly. And when he transitioned and his companions, the Khalifa, was walking around living and practicing and teaching Islam on this earth, the opinion of your madhab wasn't around then. So how is it impossible for us to understand Quran and Sunnah with the correct understanding without the opinion of your madhab. You understand? But it's alhamdulillah, it's nothing to fight and there's nothing to bicker over. But it's due to these deficiencies, and look where we are. And then you have the individuals. I'm going to be one of the ones to speak out on it, because right now, the things that's going on right now, I would, not only just me, but we talked about this day coming. Because everybody has this hush-hush, street code, root for the criminal mentality, or we need to stop this from getting out there because it's a stain on our clique, our group. We don't have no stains. We point out how everybody else don't need to be listened to, and we cover our stuff up. Just like, and I didn't really want to get into this, but I'm gonna speak on it. Just like I was speaking about like the brother from the Germantown thing, discussing how they had to get a building and how they had to have the metal detectors. Well, also at that exact same Eid, I guess which they probably wasn't prepared for because they had metal detectors, it just jumped off outside. Okay? Now, some people recorded it with their phones. The youths out there acting a fool. See, a lot of people don't know about this. It didn't get to go viral like some of those other incidents. So what they did was issued out a letter, a statement calling to the parents. You know, the parents of the kids out there who did what they did, trying to keep a hush hush. But I'm gonna speak on it. I'm gonna speak on more of it. We want the parents to get the kids together, and then we can have some type of meet to rectify it. But there was a big push for the people who recorded it and got the videos. Don't spread it on social media. It's gonna make them kids a target. No, because it's gonna put another stain on another one of y'all Eids for the people who outside of Philly that wasn't there. And then y'all got people like the Asheries talking about how y'all is as how the Salafis is. Now you want to keep it on the hush hush. And then at the same time, we need to rectify. The police don't need to be involved, because that's the taghut. That no snitching thing. Now let's just look at the days of the Rasul or the Imams of the madhab in a Muslim land. Do you think kids, adults can come to the Eid, fight, tear up stuff, knock down elderly people, shoot, get to shooting? Do you think there wouldn't have been no consequences? Do you think if they did that in a Muslim land, they not going to jail? Do you think they not going to jail? Do you think there's no Islamic consequences? Oh no, we got to keep this hush hush. We got to keep this down on the low because it's another stain on us. Everything that people saying about us, we need to keep that from coming to the light because we talk about everybody else so much. So we can't let our stuff get out there. But now we're going to issue out a letter to the parents for the parents to bring the kids up here and we talk about it. Let me tell you something, B. If kids every year coming up to the Eids and shooting, they need to go to jail. You a Muslim and you coming to do something to another Muslim, possibly over something that's haram anyway, because y'all both messing with the same Kafir girl and now y'all fighting over her? Because y'all both messing with the same Muslim girl and now y'all fighting over her? Y'all fighting over somebody pills getting stole? Y'all fighting over We from this area, that from this area. Your man killed my man, and now we finna get at it, and we all Muslim. All over some haram stuff anyway. If you had that mindset, you need to go to jail. Out there knocking old people down, you need to be in jail. But that mentality of let's cover it up and wipe it under the rug, don't nobody put those videos out there because it make us look bad, and we're the best of the whole entire of all the Muslims on the face of this planet, especially the United States. When this happened the last time, y'all got together and had the parents bring a couple of the kids who broke out and had a big fight that led to some shootings out afterwards. Y'all brought them kids, and it was a moment to have a viral video and sit down. Yeah, man, that was a beautiful video. But once that video went off, them same kids still fighting and shooting at each other. They sat down, they let Hassan Somali do his talking and do this and that, looked at each other. Hey, now y'all shake hands. Now we got a beautiful Salafi video to put out there in the space. As soon as that video went off, it was right back cracking. And some of the effects of it are still to this day. Send the letter out to the parent. I've seen when they put the letter out there. Oh yeah, see, this is a beautiful response. That ain't no beautiful response, man. Let's just be real. Send that out before the Eid. Get the parents to bring the kids up there to have beef. Squash that stuff before the Eid. Or at least enough to say, look, if you're going to have issues with this one and you're going to have issues with that one, y'all go to a different Eid. But they don't know to go to a different Eid. Why? Because only y'all Eid is the only permissible Eid to go to in your city. 500 Eids in the city, and they can only come to yours. Because all the other Eids in the city is bid'ah. Now when they come to the Eid, fighting and shooting. Send the letter out before the Eid. Have the parents bring them before the Eid. And see what the issues is. But not just them. Then on the other side of town, outside of the dude getting caught with the AR-15, exact same thing happened. But people keep talking about the youth. Oh, see, the youth, this behavior, they different. When I'm sitting around somebody who been around long enough to know, I'm talking about since about 2017, from me witnessing all the grown people fighting at the Eid. It was one year where I see all these sisters in black. It was kind of comical to me because they was rumbling. They was getting busy. But some of them still had their niqab on. Like you see one face cover and she's fighting another girl with her face cover. And it's it's just like a big rumble. And some of them had their face covered up. And I remember looking at it how they even know who to fight. But, I guess they know each other. They can recognize each other. Kind of like when COVID was around, people had on COVID masks and maybe a hat, but you see them in public and still knew who they was. And maybe I just didn't, you know what I'm saying? But it was just kind of comical to me, but these was grown people. But let's sweep it under the rug. Let's just break it up and have a little speech. And then the next Eid, that's a few months down the line, they can go ahead and fight at that one. Men scrapping, but these was the adults. Now the kids who've been coming to them Eids, seeing that, now they're continuing the exact same behavior. They've been watching the adults do it. The only difference is the kids is busting out them thumpers. But who couldn't have seen this coming? Who couldn't see this coming? And some people didn't agree when I did a little talking about the type of imams. You got some who went to school, Then you have certain imams who may be like from Morocco. They may grew up in the UK, and they was in the overseas culture. Now they here and they don't know this type of culture. And in some of these cities on the East Coast, they didn't have a real heavy gang culture. They had cliques. Like areas like California and Illinois. Illinois is exactly like California. It's governed by gang culture. They just got Bloods and Crips. We got Vice Lords and GDs with their branches. You see what I'm saying? GDs, BDs, D's and that, they really are the same thing. Vice Lords, Stones, Four Corner Hustlers, they really are the same thing. But it's governed by gang culture. So like what these kids doing now, those are some conditions that I grew up under 30-some years ago as a kid. The shootings, the drive-bys, shooting up the parks, shooting up the basketball games, shooting up and tearing up the mall, shooting up the movie theater. But you have imams who don't come from that. May just been a good kid and seen some violence, and then they left and got accepted to the University of Mecca or Medina and been over there the last 20 years. And they just hearing about as the city is changing, some of their friends dying, but they never lived it. They never went through it. So they really don't know how to reach or talk to these kids. And then they may have some people who come home from prison, but they only know how to prison talk. Yeah, see, when I was your age, well, we was doing this, we was the same way, but at least we would fight. Y'all need to put the guns down and just fight. That's not good advice. Because once they put the guns down and fight, the loser gonna pick that gun back up. No, y'all need to resolve it completely because you Muslim. But this is advice that I see. Y'all need to put. See, y'all ain't hustlers like we was. We got money. Y'all want to fight and shoot each other. Put them guns down, man, and y'all go get some money. When they tell them getting money, though, they referring to hustling. Then when they take that option to go get some money, they get killed in a robbery. Or they kill somebody who was trying to rob them. And they still might be Muslim. Because they still sending them to the exact same ignorance. Because this is the ignorance they came from. As opposed to saying, look, Quran is Sunnah, this and that. You Muslim. Come learn the education. Pair y'all up. Y'all learn Arabic together. Nah, man, I need to start putting them guns down and fight. And then the loser picked that gun right back up. I'll see you later. Or no, we got to fight one more time. I had an off day. Get whooped again. Then he get his partners and then they come jump this other guy who whooped him. Now he pick his gun back up. So they're really continuing the cycle because they didn't grow up in it the way that it is now. Wallahi, like how it's jumping off now, that was a regular day for us. Areas we got to walk through and go to work and 30-minute shootouts and just you trying to come up in and people popping up out your bushes. Shooting at you while your mama and them might be sitting on the porch drinking sweet tea. They done popped up out the bushes. So they, some of them really don't know how to reach them. But then the individuals who can reach them, they don't have the Islamic knowledge to get them over that hump. And then the ones who do have the Islamic knowledge to get them over that hump, they never live. They can't reach them. They look at them like nerds. Oh man, see them imams over there, they nerds. That's that soft Islam. This stuff is problematic, man. I done seen a brother suggesting that they get some type of committee just to deal with the violence of the Muslim youth. But he said one key thing. It's not going to work because whoever consider themselves to be a Muslim leader here in Philly not going to work with each other. And we already know what that means. The people where this stuff started and a majority of these issues is having coming from their group. They don't want nobody else to come in and get to talking and doing this and that, because in reality, and people gonna feel some way about it, because once these other people step into the picture, they got to get to the back of the bus because their Islamic knowledge isn't paralleled. They not even close to the same level as them people. And then at the same time, they didn't grow up under these same circumstances. They from the UK. They from Morocco. They from certain areas of Africa. They didn't grow up under this. They don't even know how to stop it. They just know how to take little snippets of it and go viral, which I call PR. They got a real good PR campaign. But like I say, not to put them on them, because it's starting to spread. And you know what the solution is? They need to go to jail, B. I don't wish jail up on nobody, but if you're a Muslim and your intentions every day, when I see that other Muslim and everything that went on, it ain't gonna stop. When you came up under that culture, man, they shot him, they shot my man, then your mindset is, I gotta kill them before they kill me. I'd rather be judged by 12 than carried by 6. I'd rather kill them and go to prison than get killed. They get busy just like we get busy. So any opportunity I get, whether it's in the grocery store, whether it's at an Eid, whether it's in the masjid, whether it's at Jumar, whether it's in front of their mama, their kids, I got to get them. I'd rather get them and go to prison than them get me first. That's the mindset that they start to develop. Kill or be killed. I can't fight him because if I whoop him and put these knuckles on him, he gonna shoot me. He gonna catch me lacking because they keep listening to these Muslim rappers and this dirty version of Islam is being pushed. He might catch me lacking. If I whoop him, he gonna catch me lacking. It's on sight. Wherever we see each other, it's on. Whether babies around, elderly people around, whether we at a Muslim function, and people who didn't come from it, man, they don't know how to solve it. And a lot of the mentality that a Muslim brother blood can be spilt, or you could put hands on another Muslim, started from their mouth. Because they come up with sophisticated ways to mistreat other Muslims by taking them off the minhaj, declaring them innovators, like the Khawarij. Oh man, we can whoop them. You know, it's been plenty of times where certain people came up to the masjids to debate and go over this and that, and may have been Ashri and this and that, and they whooped them and sent them on their way. And now as they grew and get their weight up because they getting whooped by trying to debate, now they got their team together and now they ready to put some belt. Yeah, we strong now. We taking y'all women. We building more masjids. We can't wait to put belt on y'all. You see what I'm saying? But don't nobody want to take responsibility and hold themselves accountable for the environment that they created. And you know, like one of the brothers put in my comments, that Salafism leads to extremism. That's not correct. I went ahead and said that play a role in it because Salafism isn't the same thing as Salafiyah. Salafism is the ism of Salafiyah, where some people done created their own version of Salafiyah. And they pushing the extreme point of view towards other, but when it comes to them, all the fighting and shooting and killing inside the masjid and dragging a body out and saying it was a drive-by from another Muslim and then cover up the Muslim actions, molesting kids, your own wife, daughter, and all that, help him escape and sweeping under the rug. The imam done beat this woman half to death, beat this woman half to death, then beat this other woman half to death. And then y'all carry your shoes around and sweep that under the rug, see? Done ran up out of his country because he was a woman beater. Beating the mess out of all of his wives. And then bring it over here. But we gonna sweep that under the rug. And declare everybody else this and declare everybody else that. Because they talked to somebody else or they gave a lecture at a masjid. And just seeing how it's gonna spread. And look how worse it's getting, man. But man, that's enough about that, man. So, for the Muslims, man, who's still in it, it's just make this year, this Ramadan to the next Ramadan, make it a year of no distractions. And focus on getting knowledge of the Sunnah. And Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, getting real knowledge of the Quran. I'm not saying reject madhabs, but don't become an extremist on one point of view, and then learn the difference. Did this imam make a mistake? Instead of just trying to be politically correct. Oh well. Yeah, all these other madhabs said that this is a mistake, but this is my madhab, and I'm not going to call it a mistake. I'm going to call it a difference of an opinion, and I'm an extremist up on it. I don't care how many hadiths you show me. I don't care how many Quran ayahs you show me. This is in my madhab. I'm sticking to it. Don't become that. Because like you going to hear real educated people say it's mistakes in every madhab. And they do refer to them as mistakes. Yeah, when it comes to these madhabs, they got a lot of things right, but they also got some things wrong. All of them. Ain't not one madhab flawless and perfect. You got to throw it up against that Quran and the Sunnah. So and I got to end it on this, man. Start all over. Try to learn your deen, man, from the very beginning. Shahada, everything, and throw it up against the Quran and Sunnah. Not what you've been told, not what you heard, not necessarily what you've seen on the internet. Really look into some tafsirs and some hadith. Take a whole year, this Ramadan to the next year, next Ramadan, and focus on it. Don't put your Quran down until Ramadan again. Get more and more familiar with it, and take your understanding away from it, and let it come to you, and make a lot of du'as on it, ponder on it, reflect on it, not on just the Quran, but the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, his life and the hadiths, and get very familiar with it. Get familiar with your deen. A lot of people not familiar with their deen, and we just don't know how to carry it. I seen the imam said that we're not realizing that our religion has started to be replaced with a degenerate version of Islam because of these people who only know how to look the part but not act it. But it's us, B. It's us, B. And then we had this root for the criminal, sweep it under the rug, no switching stuff, the taghut. Boy, if they did this in a Muslim country, man, they'd probably be somewhere getting lashes. They'd probably be under the jail. You understand? They probably, just like, look at some of these Americans who go to Muslim countries and some of these different countries thinking they can take weed over there and smoke weed, sneak weed in there, sneak pills, because they can't go a couple of days without getting high, and then they get caught. Be over there with 60 years for 2 blunts worth of marijuana. United States government's got to care enough about them and go do what they can to get them. What you think they gonna do? You come fighting at every Eid and shooting. They going to jail being the Muslim lands. They gonna get some lashes in the Muslim lands. Stealing, robbing each other. Mess around and get your hand cut off in a Muslim land. Back in the day you would have. Now you gonna sit around, mess around and be doing life. In the real concrete jungle. You know what I'm saying? But us, nah man, that's a stain on us. We gonna sweep that under the rug. We gonna talk to their mama and daddy. like let's get together and talk to their parents, talk to their mama and daddy. Boy, they fighting and shooting at the Eid. Obviously they don't listen to their mama and daddy. Bro, don't nobody put the videos out, man. They might get targeted, man. We know what that means. 1, everybody gonna know we still got issues. And 2, we that's gonna be snitching. They need to go to jail. Y'all can't do nothing. Parents can't do nothing. Let them sit up in that jail cell, man. One of them old heads who been in there 30 years. Doing push-ups, dips, and pull-ups, and benching 400-500, drinking milk and eating apples and oranges for the past 40 years. No drugs, no alcohol, sleeping good. Let them go to the penitentiary and sit up in a room full of them brothers. No pistol, no crew or no clique to go get. Let them sit up in the jail with them for a minute. That's what they need. Let them go sit with them Muslims. You know what I'm saying? Let them go sit with them Muslims. Let them go catch a fair one with Mustafa, somebody who ain't been doing nothing but push-ups, pull-ups, and dips every day for 10 years straight. Drinking milk, eating apples and oranges, and drinking water, vegetables. Let them go sit up in there with Mustafa and Ali and them for a year or 2. That's what they need. You understand? Because y'all can't do nothing. This stuff been going on from my own vision since 2017. People, you know what I'm saying? Knowing people, man, who ODing on perks that they got from another Muslim at the Eid. Wallahi, wallahi, wallahi. And then having a conversation, wallahi, with the exact same sister that OD'd on some perks mixed with fentanyl at the Eid that they got from some other Muslims. At the Salafi Eid. Let's just sweep it under the rug. Then when the brothers want to come, her brothers want to put belt to the A of the Muslim who sold it to him. No, because he got a little position with them at the Salafi Masjid, and possibly some of his money is helping paint walls or whatever. I ain't gonna say too much. He protected. But he almost killed another Muslim, man, by selling them some dirty perks. But anyway, man, let me get off of here, man. And I gotta say this, man. Y'all young brothers, man, y'all young sisters, man, who trying to get married, man. Yeah. Learn how to be a husband and a wife, man, from some people who know how to be it. You know, I'm talking to a sister, man. I'm her Wakil. She said I could say something. You know what I'm saying? I'm always give people permission. And she was like, you know, I really need to start getting my life together. Life is hard for them. They don't know how to drive because never went and learned how to drive because all them years ago when Dawood Adi was the Imam of Germantown Masjid, he issued out a fatwa saying it was the fatwa of Saudi Arabia that it was haram for the women to drive. So she never even learned how to drive. So she don't know how to drive. Trying to get government assistance, food stamps, this and that is the tagut. You know, Daki. So life is hard. You know what I'm saying? They got a nice little amount of kids, all by Daki. Alhamdulillah, all by the same person. You know, but unfortunately, you know, the never-ending story. He's under that banner, but he's a drug addict. You know, perks, cocaine. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, he can't do nothing for the kids, never around. Not really to go into that. But, so life is hard. And, you know, I try to help them in the system because they're a good person, you know. But because they under that banner, sometimes, man, people need to understand their banners. The Ashris, the Salafis, the Hanafi, the Malikis. The banner that they claim means they have knowledge. It ain't that they really learned it a lot. Or, well, you know, I go to Jumar and this imam with a name all on YouTube and viral, all on TikTok and Instagram and Twitter or X and all these social media sites. I go to his, you know, I go listen to his khutbahs. So this is the new knowledge. Not really having it, but what I call myself means I'm knowledgeable. So, you know, trying to help them get their deen up and, you know, trying to help them get a spouse, man, but I'm a man. Certain women, man, is just because we had a responsibility to take care of a woman, you might not be the woman that we want to do that for. It doesn't have to be you. You understand? But they want to carry that, oh, well, it's a Muslim man. He had to do this. He had to do that. He don't have to do it for you. He don't have to marry you. You got to keep in mind, like I tell them, when you sit in the room and you sit on the phone and you got 10, 15 women in there, out of the 10, 15 women, 9 of y'all in the exact same boat, the same condition. Men have more choices than y'all. But y'all have a sophisticated way of downing this one, down and that one, keeping them single because he want to choose her and not you. But, so she says to me, you know, I really just need to get my life together. So I said, okay, alhamdulillah, like what you gonna do? You gonna go to school, try to get an education, you know, try to get a job or something? Like, what, you know, what's your game plan? The sister told me, nah, I need to start doing some butt squats. I need to start doing butt squats. I said butt squats because the game plan is, yeah, I need to thicken up. I got some hips, but I need to get more rounded in the back. Thicken up these legs with butt squats. because it's still all about attracting a guy and getting him to do it all. And I keep sitting up saying, it's this. You need to get this together. Not your freaking butt. Or you're going to end up with the wrong one. So some of y'all young brothers, man, and these sisters, man, these mentalities, even with like some of the brothers, man, like I'm telling y'all, man, wallahi, some of the brothers, man, who may reach out to me and this and that, I'm going to be honest. The brothers is having real specific list. Just like how the sisters, he need to be able to do this, he need to be able to do that, need to be able to do this. Man, some of these brothers is like, she either need to be a virgin, she can't have sex, had sex with more than 3 men, she can't have no kids. I be listening to some of them brothers, I be like this, I ain't gonna lie to you, bro. I don't know no Muslim sisters like that. Listen, you gonna have to find one of them type of sisters in India and Egypt, Saudi Arabia somewhere, bruh. And we talking about like brothers of some age, but at the same time, these brothers don't have no kids. So it ain't like that brother with 13, 14 kids. They ain't got no kids, ain't never been married. You know what I'm saying? So they really requesting a sister that's on the same wavelength as them. So they don't see nothing wrong with it. And when you tell a sister, man, yeah, I got some brothers, but they looking for this. Who he think he is? He rich or something? You do the exact same thing. Who you think you is? He want what he want just like you want what you want. If he gonna be taking care of some sister, he want her knowledge to be, in his head, she got to be worthy of me taking care of. But it's just scary to me, man. Because I come from a time where individuals was just used to be like, man, as long as they Muslim, I'm good, man. As long as they really believe, as long as they think Aqidah is these 6 categories, brother and a sister, as long as he just think that Aqidah is this category, the most, and it's not outlandish to me. I totally understand it. But one of the most things that I heard sisters say that some people felt was a difficulty, he got to wear his pants above his ankles. I'm not marrying no brother who have his pants in the hellfire. I understood it. But some brothers used to get, oh man, that's Arab, that's this, that's woo out the woo. Man, you finna pass out on a good sister refusing to do something that's legislated. Oh, there's opinion. No, there's not no difference of opinion on whether you have to do it or not. It's 100% unanimous agreement that you have to do it. The difference of opinion is on what the punishment is for doing it. Because see, y'all listening to people and this and that, the difference of opinion is what the punishment are. Do it invalidate your prayer if you're doing it. You understand? That's what the differences of opinion is about. When you go and dig deep. But again, when we come into opinions, we're looking at the 4 madhabs. But when you go above them to the purity of Islam, it wasn't even debatable or disputable. And with the 4 madhabs, it still isn't. It's just, you may see some who will say, well, if you come from a land where everybody wear their pants below their ankle and it's part of the culture, then it's okay to fit in with the culture. But this is the land of the kuffar. It ain't like this is a Muslim. This is the land of the kuffar. So it's cool to fit in and adjust to what kuffar culture. But I ain't gonna go into it, man. It done got long enough, man. I gotta go do what I gotta do, man. Muslims, man, stay focused. Go back to the basics. Of course, everybody don't need to. Learn your deen all over again and get you some knowledge about Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Biographies, hadiths, but you got to do hadiths. You got to. Because sometimes when you're reading the biographies, unless you get the encyclopedia one, and it breaks everything down by isnad, the biographies just kind of tell you about the character and what they went through. It doesn't necessarily have the hadiths and the Quran ayats. It don't just necessarily pop out and point it out at you. You know, it just kind of detail who his mother was, who his father was, how he grew up, who his uncle took care of him, you know, certain things being there, but it don't pop out like, yo, this is hadith, this is Quran. It don't pop out like that when you're not that familiar with it. So you need the hadiths, study from the studying his life and how he lived from the aspect of hadith, because it teach you how to implement the deen from at least the root of it, where all these different opinions and this one said and this one said, this masjid do this masjid do that. These people who I like told me this. We did this for 15 years in prison, but I don't have an idea where it comes from. At least see what the original rulings are and where they branched off of them and came up with different opinions, and if their opinion is valid and if it's a mistake. You got to know the root of it. Anyway, man, may Allah be with us all. May Allah guide us all. You know, and if anybody who listen to this, man, and your kids is bad, and you happen to have one of the kids that's out there in it, you know, we can't talk to our kids no more, man. Some of us can't. You know, I understand it. And you know, some of us just come from it so we could recognize the mentality and know how to speak to the mentality. You know, some who made it out unscathed and didn't buy all the way into it, and then some people can't, because like I said, their advice just continues the cycle. But they just think they one heck of a OG with a lot of wisdom. No, it's just some more sophisticated ignorance. Anyway, man, stay focused. Don't get distracted. What you learned about yourself during Ramadan, build on the good points. What you seen as a weaknesses, work on it. Get your health up together. You know, as y'all can see, I'm drinking like some my own little homemade juice. I'm into the juices, you know. Little pineapple, lime, lemon, and watermelon. You know, real hydrating as far as H3O2 and alkaline. Alkaline your system, and it hydrates your blood cells. You know what I'm saying? Get yourself up together, man. Start eating some fruits and some vegetables, blood oranges, you know, regular oranges, you know, pink grapefruit. Find something you like, pineapples, all type of variety of grapes, seeded, seedless, and a bunch of watermelon, you know. That's how I eat. You know, get yourself together, man. Get your, you know, start sleeping more. Get your mentality right. Sit for a minute and just sit with yourself, man. Get you some sun. Sit on the porch, man, in the sun, and get you some fresh air. And just sit down and think. Listen to some Quran, man. You know, something like that, man. But anyway, man, may Allah be with us all. May Allah help us and rectify us. And understand that Hadith predicted that these things was going to come. So it's not something that you're going to stop. Shaitan is loose. I mean, just look at that, man. And of course, you know, alhamdulillah, some places everybody didn't have to deal with these type of things. You know, all of the moon fighting, this and that. One people live on this side of town, they had to eat. On this other side of the town, they wait until the next day. It's only one moon. It's only one moon, man. But anyway, I ain't gonna go into that, man. To each their own, man. Even some people had Eid on a Saturday. How y'all even come up with that? Although you started with everybody else. That be the sad part. Everybody started with everybody else. But then somehow y'all having an Eid on a Saturday, which is only 28 days. Now, you know, some people who chose to start a day late, and like for the people who started the day late, I ain't finna go into it. Because like I say, some people who started, I'm just going to put this little bit out there. People who started the same day, but then when it came to the end, some people felt like, okay, alhamdulillah, although they seen the moon, we don't go with them. Although these people seen the moon, and although they seen the moon on the other side of town, or the next city over, that don't matter to us. We didn't see it. Although we didn't look for it, we not going to go with the next city over who seen it, because we waiting for what some committee that we don't know nobody is to announce if the majority of the people they told to look for it said they didn't see it. So we not looking for ourselves. We waiting for this committee in Chicago. We waiting to see if they seen any man. So like, what they not understanding, if they do 20 cities and 2 cities say they seen it, but 18 said that they didn't, well, we going with the majority. 18 people, 18 masjids didn't see it. Although 2 cities did see it, and they issued a statement and say the majority of the masjids that we check with didn't see it. Therefore, there's no valid moon sighting. Although the next city over seen it. So they decided not to go with it. But, alhamdulillah, they decided to do an extra day. Cool. At least that is from the deen. Minus the fact that if it was seen by a reliable source, then it's been seen. But if you want to choose, we didn't see it ourselves. This committee that we don't know nothing about, although they got some reports of some people who seen it, but it wasn't the majority. So we're going to go with them and do an extra day. Cool. But what about the people who started a day late? they eat probably today on a Tuesday. y'all and like anybody who understand the moon, and I'm finna get up off of here. Just like a person, when you understand the moon and how I look, it gets thicker and thicker. So like even a person sent me a picture of the moon from last night. I'm able to look at it and say that's a 3-day moon. Not the first day. But, you know, they just happy to see some of it. But this, you can look at the moon. Like right now, you know how to look at the moon and it's visible. You're able to look at the moon and say, okay, that's a 4-day moon. So even with the people who say it wasn't seen, we not going to go with it. But then when they actually able to see the moon, and because it's going to be the night, so it was a third night moon, but it's 2 days. But they had Eid this day because they decided to wait. But then after Maghrib come, this is a 3-day moon, so y'all really off 2 days. But we ain't gonna go into that. But just imagine for the people who started the day late. This is for the people who at least started on the right day. When you know how to look at the moon, you're able to look at it and say, oh man, subhanAllah, we made a mistake. And went another day. But alhamdulillah, we didn't see it. But we don't care about all the reports of it being seen. I didn't see it with my naked eye, although you didn't go look for it. We're not going to accept the authentic report because we're relying on a report from these people. We never went and looked ourselves. We're going to deny a report from another report from a city that's not ours. And then say, well, we didn't see it. You didn't go look. You waiting for this Hilal committee. Anyway, man. Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.